Art and Design, Sketchbook Basics. To get started, you want to install the Sketchbook app. To do this, open your self-service and you'll find it right at the top on the left. Once installed, open up Sketchbook and let's open ourselves up a new document. Press the little square in the top left-hand corner and then New Sketch. You can change your paper to become landscape or portrait. Press Create. On the left hand side, you'll see there's lots of pen and pencil options, and we're going to go through each of these individually to see what they do. If we start off by pressing the pencil, you'll see that we can change the size and the opacity. Before we get started on this, let's take a look at the colour wheel. The outer circle means I can choose any colour within the colour wheel. The square or diamond shape in the middle means I can choose a different hue or a different tone. So if I choose a pink, I can go from very light to very dark. Let's start off with black and let's look at the pencil. So I'm going to choose a size and I'm going to keep the opacity at 100. This just creates a black line. If I lower the opacity, you'll see that it's much lighter. If you keep the opacity low, you can go over the same section over and over like I'm doing now. This is really useful to add texture. This could be used for hair. Let's look at the next one, which is the vintage marker. This is just like a normal marker but has a slightly square edge. Let's look at the flow airbrush. If you make the size quite large, it looks like this, but you can make it much smaller for smaller details. The next one we're going to look at is the technical pen. This is just like drawing with a normal biro pen. The next option down is our fountain pen. This creates some really lovely lines. You can make it thicker or thinner. Let's move down into our watercolour. Of course, this is very useful if you want your artwork to look a little bit more like painting. The next brush down is again a painting brush, but as you can see is a little bit more detailed. This is one of my favourite tools. This is the smudge tool. As you can see, you can smudge anything on the page. Really useful if you're doing things like portraits or you want something to look perhaps a little bit more blended and realistic. This is your charcoal blend tool. Again, it does something similar, just on a slightly larger scale. The next couple of options are charcoal tools. You'll be able to see what these do. Obviously, if you make the size bigger, it's going to cover a much bigger space on your page, but you can see that it adds some really cool texture. The synthetic brush tools are really fun to use, so before you do any of your work, why not go through all of these tools and see what they do. At some point you're going to want to erase something, and there are two different eraser tools. One of them has a much more blurred edge and the other one a much harder edge. So these are very useful for different things. Right, let's get started in creating some artwork. On the right hand side, where those little boxes are moving, this is called our panel, and every square lit up blue is a different layer. To create a new layer, we press the little plus or add sign at the top and you'll see a new layer appears. It takes practice, but we always have to remember that whatever we put on that bottom layer is always going to be behind what's on the top layer. So let's test this out. Let's take a pen and any colour and doodle all over the page, making sure you've highlighted that bottom layer. You'll notice that the minute I change brush, my little drawing appeared in that bottom box, the one that we had highlighted. Let's now select the box above. As you can see, it's now highlighted blue. And this time we're going to draw something else. So I'm going to choose a different pen or a different colour. Okay, So that's now in the top layer. What happens if I drag that down? So all I need to do is hold it and drag it. You can see now that the pen purple and pink is now on top. Again, if I flip it back round, you can see what happens. So I'm going to delete these layers out. To do this, I just tap on it, make sure the little lock sign is unlocked, and just press delete. Okay, and that's it all gone. No need to use the eraser tool. Okay, I'm going to draw something. Try and have a guess at what it is that I'm drawing, and then I'll show you the next steps. Some of you may have already guessed what I'm going for, but I'll leave you in suspense until it's coloured in. So I'm going to make myself a separate layer, and I'm going to make sure this one's underneath the drawing I've made because I want the black lines to be on top. So I'm going to colour it in, and that line's a little bit too thin, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so it's a little bit thicker. It'll fill the shape faster. Don't forget, if you want to layer your colours to make them lighter or darker, this is one of the easiest ways to add tone. Don't forget to keep your opacity kind of at a medium instead of being really high or really low. Okay, so once I'm done, what I want to do is I want to merge these layers together because right now they're separate, so I want them all to become one. So to do that, I'm going to click on the top layer and I'm going to select merge all. And then once that's done, you can see it's all just in one separate layer. To be able to move this image around, I want to select the little plus sign in that top menu bar. Then I want to click on the left hand option. This option means that I can change the shape. I can make it squidge together, up and down. I can twist it. There's lots of different things you can do. So I'm going to position it where I want it, and then once I'm finished, I'm going to press done. Now I want to add some text, so I go up and I find the big T, and I write in whatever text I want to add to this document. So if you didn't already guess, I'm making a poster for Harry Potter. I'm going to choose my font, and then you can also change the colour. And again, if you click that button right next to the colour option, you can change the size and the shape of your words. When you're happy with it, you just press done. Now I'm not quite finished, so I want to continue editing. You can edit on that layer you've just created. As you can see, there's the Harry Potter layer, or you can create another one on top. I'm just going to work on the text layer because I want to add more writing. Can you guess the movie? It's Harry Potter, but which one do you think I'm doing? I'm going to finish off the title. That's right, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Again, I can still add more things to it, so I'm going to go in, I'm just going to add some little stars. You can also add backgrounds and you can add other pictures, but for just now, these are just the basics. So when you're happy, all you need to do is go back to that top left hand option and click share. And in here you can send it to someone, but save to files is probably the best thing to do. And that's it. You've created your first picture.